on that issue of the wife. That's what we're going to be doing. So the 13th vice of bad wives is what? Comparison. Another terrible vice which you can use to spot out a bad wife is comparison. Naturally, women in general, they have this comparison spirit in them. That's why they notice everything and go into unnecessary details. However, when you as a woman, when you get born again and become a child of God, but fail to use the word of God and his spirit to remove that comparison spirit in you, and you carry it over from the world and from your damaged nature, you carry it over into your marriage, you will definitely cause problem for yourself in that marriage. Men who marry women like that are married to troublesome children. They will never stop worrying you with annoying and stupid questions. That's the time you hear things like this lady that passed us now, is she beautiful? You say yes. Then she will follow it up with another question. So if you are not married and you had the option of choosing between me and her, who will you choose? If your answer is you will still choose her as your wife, she will say you are deceiving her and start giving you attitude. She will say, well, I know that she has a nicer figure than me, her skin looks fresher than my own. You agree with her. When you agree with her, then she flies into a rage, saying, so you will choose her. I knew this. I know that you like her more than me. You are an unfaithful husband. I knew it was a mistake marrying you. The same woman will start the comparison, will do the analysis, and also do the conclusion, and start trouble from the conclusion she reached. Why? Bad wife. The woman with this comparison mindset can start a conflict alone in an empty room. She will go into the internet, spend hours there, comparing her pictures with the pictures of other ladies. When she has less likes than the woman she is competing with in her own mind, she will go and snap more pictures and post it, hoping to generate more likes and more comments than the lady. When that fails, then she will mobilize all her friends against the other lady out of jealousy, and will start a smear campaign against the lady to destroy her name. She will start a rumor that the other lady is a prostitute that sleeps around with different men. She will drag the husband into the whole issue and order him not to greet the lady or any members of her family. If the husband doesn't agree, there will be trouble at home. If the husband agrees but greets the lady or the other woman's husband by mistake, there will still be trouble at home. The woman will be mad at the husband. I will not speak to him for this. Why? Comparison. It is this comparison spirit that will cause a woman to ask the husband silly questions, like if fire breaks out in the house and you had your mother, me, and your son in the house, with the option of saving only one person, who will you choose? Me, your son, or your mother? She's even comparing herself with her own son. That's how terrible this vice is. As a man, that time you are focused on your work, trying to get it done. That's the time that kind of woman, will come and start, disturbing you. She will come around and start disturbing you and will say, and she will touch your hair and say, I need to talk to you now. You say, I'm busy, please leave me alone so I can finish my work. Then there will be trouble. What she will say, so your work is more important than me. You don't love me. You don't have time for me. All you care about is your work. So if you know that you love your work more than me, why did you marry me? You should have married your work and leave me alone, and should have left me alone. All the time, the attention you give to her is always being compared with the attention you give other people. If you greet a sister on the road, you are in trouble. Sorry. If you greet a sister on the road, you are in trouble. You greet another lady, I ask her about her family and how her day is going, you are in trouble. Have you answered? You have to answer why you care about the woman more than what you care for her. When was the last time you asked me about how my day was going? You asked the other lady how her day was going. When was the last time you asked me that kind of question? She'll be comparing. You give her money, she requested for. Another problem will start. Why did you give her money? Another problem will start. You see, she will say, oh, when you are giving your mother money, you spend time asking her how she will spend it, how long the money will last. You also advise her on the market, which market she will has to go to buy items. Unlike me, your wife, you just give money and go like that, like you are helping a beggar. Why do you care for your mom more than me? In fact, choose between me and your mom. She's a thorn in your flesh. Why? Comparison. 2 Corinthians chapter 10 verse 12 says that comparing themselves with themselves, they are not wise. So when you, as a woman, go into comparison, you're a foolish woman. That is what the Bible says. I didn't say it. Because if the Bible says that you are not wise, it means you are foolish. And a fool will senselessly destroy her own house with her foolishness. All the time, you are troubling your husband with silly questions. All the time, you are presenting him with narratives and asking him to make choices. All that will wear him down with time and will negatively affect your marriage. 14 is what? She carries her previous bad experiences into her marriage. That's how you know bad wives. A bad wife will carry her past experiences that are unpleasant into her marriage. If her father cheated on the mom, on the mother, then her idea of men is that they are cheats and can never be trusted. She has watched all the trauma and the pain her mother went through because of the father's cheating, and she took all that and brought it into her marriage. Any number that calls her husband's phone, who she doesn't know about, must be a lady that he's cheating with, and her reaction will be out of order. She will start by packing all her belongings out of the house, and asking the husband to choose between her and his secret girlfriend. When the man tries to contact her and talk to her, she will rain abuses and curses on him and tell him that he has tolerated his cheating for long and is no longer ready to bear it. The man will be wondering where all this are coming from. To her, you are a continuation of her cheating father. All the pain caused by the father to the mother is inside her, and you will be punished for that. You escaped the punishment before when you are the father, but now you will not escape it. She is there to punish you and make sure you pay for all your misdeeds. There is nothing like I am not like a father. To her, everything is connected, and all men are the same. If she was abused in the past by men, she will carry that anger and bitterness from that abuse into her marriage. Any little mistake you make, she will go to the storehouse where she kept all the anger and bitterness from her past experience and take all of them out and pour it on you. As a man, you wonder why the senseless reaction over this little mistake. Why are you abusing me and raining curses on me, saying may you sleep and never wake up, may you suffer a slow and painful death? Why? What happened? Baggage from the past. If she was oppressed and had her rights denied in her marriage, she will carry that whole issue into it. Anything that looks like oppression must be fought against. You will say, my dear wife, go and cook for the children. Alarm bell sets off in her head. She goes into war mood. Who do you think I am? A doormat that you can walk over and drive like a donkey. Never you tell me that nonsense again. If you want peace in this house. To her, anything oppression must be fought against. Even to go and cook for her own children. Men married to such women notice that their partners have unresolved issues coming from their past. They will spend their whole lives trying to prove to them that they are not like the other men in their past who traumatized them. But at the end of the day, they will fail because the women will not come out of their shells. Then the men will throw up and give up on them. The men will see that the marriage has been turned to a hospital to treat sicknesses caused by men they know nothing about. The men will spend an exhausted amount of time trying to give the women an alternative experience, which will help them break out from their past. And that can be very draining and eventually wear them out. When you are like that, as a wife, you're a bad partner. Because you have failed to use the kingdom resources God gave to you to deal with your past. The resources like His word, prayer, fasting. You have failed to use all those resources to deal with your past. And that your unresolved past is now attacking and hurting your present and future life. 15 is what? Instigation to do evil. Any woman instigating the husband to do evil is a terrible wife. Some domestic violence against women are actually instigated by those very women. That is when you hear the woman deliberately taunting the husband so he can attack her. She will use every tactics to lure him to beat her. Come and beat me. Come and beat me. That's what she will say. The man will leave her alone. She will rush and block the man, saying, beat me. She will stand in the man's face, shouting very aggressively, saying, beat me. If that doesn't work, and they'll end up beating her. She will say, oh, you didn't beat me because you're not a man. If you're a real man, beat me. If you're a woman, that is why if she will say, oh, you're a woman, that's why you can't beat me. She uses the tactics of challenging his masculinity to instigate him to beat her, which is wrong. When that fails, she looks for something very annoying to do. Maybe she goes off and picks a stick and uses it to start breaking the windscreen of the man's car. There are many women who instigate their husbands to do evil. Such women are evil and a curse on their families. Sometimes they don't instigate their husbands to do evil or physically assaulting them. No. But some of them instigate their husbands to do something that is wrong. Some other things that is wrong. Sometimes it can be subtle. You say, oh, look at that, your friend. He's doing well. He's doing so well for himself now and for his family. So he no longer visits us because he's now on a higher social status than us. But they will say, oh, look at the other man. He has packed out of this area because he knows that only poor families stay in our area. You will constantly be reminding your husband of the people that are doing better than him, indirectly putting him under pressure to go and get rich by all means. Some ladies use more direct tactics of telling their husbands that they have to do something. That is when you hear, I don't care what has to be done. You go out there and do whatever has to be done in order to get rich. If you will steal. If you kill. If you have to push drugs, push it and get the money. Some will even give you automatic. Say between now and the next 6 months, if your financial situation doesn't improve, I will leave you. This marriage is over and I'll move out of the house. Some will use insults and mockery to incite their husbands to do evil. They'll say, oh, look at you, poor man. When they call real husbands and ask them to come out, can you come out? You know you can't because you're a poor man. Look at your old car, like the car Queen rode when she visited Nigeria in 1960. Every opportunity you have, you insult and mock your husband. And pushing him closer and closer to the point of what? Falling into sin. You know what you are doing. Nobody sees it, but God sees it. And He's counting against you in heaven. So women use the tactics of questioning the masculinity of their husbands. They say, are you really a man? Are you sure you're a real man? Because real men don't allow things to be going this way. A real man would have stood and taken charge. A real man should do this and that. But wait a minute. What should a real woman do? You don't know. But you know all that a real man should do. When you are not a real man yourself. When you are not a man yourself. When this dark mindset took over Sarah, the terrible results that followed hit her first before going to attack the rest of her family. She told Abraham to go and sleep with the housemaid. Not only did she do that, she took the housemaid and gave it to Abraham and gave her to Abraham. When Abraham slept with the housemaid and got her pregnant, the housemaid started looking down on Sarah and developed wings. She then said to Abraham, the Lord judge between me and you in this matter. That's what she said to Abraham. But where was God when she was instigating Abraham to go and do evil and sleep by sleeping with the housemaid? Later, the housemaid had a son, and the son started mocking her own son, Isaac. So when she saw that the whole arrangement was not good for her whole family, she told Abraham to kick the woman and the son out. This instigation from women have put a lot of men in trouble. Some have lost their lives. Some are in jail. Some have found themselves in big trouble that they can't come out of. When they look back with regret, saying, had I known, I would not have yielded to the pressure she put me under. Any woman instigating the husband to do evil is the daughter of Delilah. Why am I saying that? Let's go to the book of Judges, chapter 6, verse 16 and 17. Judges 6, 16 and 17. There it says, and the Lord, sorry, oh God, sorry, okay. Yes, Judges 16, verse 16 and 17. And it came to pass when she pressed him daily with her words and urged him, so that his soul was vexed to death, that he told her all his heart, and said unto her, there has not come a razor upon my head, for I am a Nazarite unto God from my mother's womb. If he be shaven, then my strength will go from me, and I shall become weak, and shall be like other men. Here, you see how Delilah got Samson to say what he was not supposed to say. God warned Samson that his hair must never be cut, and now he has told the enemy to cut his hair. It was eventually cut. When you are like Delilah, where you use your words to trouble your husband daily, up to a point where he breaks down, you are a daughter of Delilah. On earth, you may be a prophetess or an evangelist, a powerful praise worship leader in your church, but in heaven, you are a daughter of Delilah. When God takes you to heaven and you see a list of daughters of Delilah, you see your name there. Before he married you, he walked in the plan of God. But ever since he came into his life, you have pushed him against God. The man who never steals church money is now stealing church money. The man who pays his workers in full now doesn't pay his workers in full. He keeps part of his salary. He keeps part of their salary for himself. The man who used to keep his promises can no longer keep his promises. He used to be serious with serving God, but now he hardly comes to church Sunday services. Even when he comes, he doesn't listen to sermons and leaves before the service ends. The man has changed totally. Why? Instigation. When you are like that, you're a terrible wife, and the anger of God will torment you forever if you don't repent. That was how many men have lost their calling in Christ, lost their great destinies, lost their purposes in life. To marry this type of woman as a man is to open a satanic office in your life, and only God can save you from falling into evil in such cases. 16 is what? Weaponization of femininity. Women in their original state are very powerful. A woman in her original feminine nature, which God made her, is very powerful. But when she decides to use that feminine nature for evil purposes, the consequences can be extremely devastating. There are women that are aware of this reality and are using it to defend their selfish interests in their families. This is the hallmark of a bad wife. If you have power and you decide to use it for evil, you're a wicked person. Micah chapter 2 verse 1 says, woe to those that do evil, because it is in their power to do so. You're a woman and you are aware of your power and you decide to use it against your husband, you're a bad wife. You and your husband, maybe you have a disagreement, but in that disagreement you downplay your own fault and make it look totally harmless, using your soft voice and innocent countenance. But when you get your husband's fault, you magnify it greatly with your tears, helplessness, and emotions. With that power, you make yourself a victim and make your husband the perpetrator. When he is the victim and you are the perpetrator, before the eyes of the neutral party, your husband will be convicted and you'll be exonerated. This is how drama queens drama queens behave. Under this type of vice, you find drama queen wives. A drama queen wife will do something wrong, and she knows that the husband will rebuke her or scold her for her wrongdoings. What will she do? She will claim that she's sick, and in that state, the husband will no longer focus on the wrong she did. So she will not face any consequences for what she did, but the man will spend time taking care of her to make sure she's okay. So through that route, she escapes the consequences of her errors. She will use her emotions to manipulate the husband. She did something wrong, and that time she will make statements like, why are you ripping me apart because of this little mistake I made? The mistake is hers, but she will make you, the husband, feel guilty about her own mistake. She will keep quiet, talk with sobbing voice and teary eyes. Before you know it, you, the husband, will be the one apologizing and begging for her forgiveness for her own mistake. If care is not taken, you will even buy her gift and take her out so you can appease her and get her to forget about the whole matter. You want to travel, she doesn't want you to travel. What does she do? In the morning before you travel, she will faint and you rush her to hospital and be there with her, thereby cancelling your travel plans. This vice of femininity, Samson could not handle it. Samson was a strong man, so strong that no man could stand him. But when this femininity was weaponized and used against him, he was totally overpowered. In Judges chapter 14 verse 17, the wife wept for 7 days before him and got him to change his mind. Samson made a law that he will not tell the riddle to anybody. But when the woman came with her femininity, he totally overpowered Samson and made him go against his own law. The same thing Delilah did to him. So if you are like that as a wife, you're a bad wife. Your husband has taken a decision that is upright in the sight of God, but you use your feminine power to force him to cancel that decision. That's how you know a bad wife. Nobody knows, but God knows. He sees your ways and the intent of your heart. Anything you don't want your husband to do, you stop it by using drama and body language to send signals to him that if he ever does it, you are going to die. That's how many married men have been pushed into ditches by their wives. This type of women cause a lot of problems for their husbands. Some of the problems they cause are irreversible. Some husbands do realize after some time that they are being controlled by using these ungodly methods of femininity, and they will rise up and start fighting back, which will cause their relationships to break or develop problems. It's so bad now that in the West, that if you're a man and you have a case, any kind of case against a woman, and the matter goes to court, if you don't get a female lawyer, no matter how wrong that lady is, you lose the case, because you will play the victim and make you a monster. Because in Western court systems, cases are not judged on facts and logic, but they are judged based on what? Emotions and sentiments. When you have a female lawyer and your opponent starts using that female emotions to turn the jury against you, your female lawyer will also bring out her own and use it to neutralize her own. Only God knows the number of men that are falling victims to this type of women. That's why we see a woman who claim that she was raped by a man. The man will be tried and sent to jail. The woman will be awarded millions of dollars in damages for her trauma she passed through in the hands of the man. Where is the evidence? No evidence. Where is the medical report to prove that she was raped? None. All her evidence is her tears and her soft voice. That's all the judge needs to send an innocent man to jail. She can't even be questioned, because according to them, questioning will cause her to have more trauma. When you have that kind of mindset and carry it into your marriage, you will trouble that marriage for sure. That's how some women will use their mind, will use that kind of mindset to get all her children to turn against her own husband. Everybody in that house will hate the husband and resist him. She will go to the children crying and pleading the victim. The children will rise up in rage, trying to protect their innocent and helpless mother. In that, the man is now sidelined and demonized. This will in turn negatively affect their marriage. If you are like that as a woman, this is a wonderful opportunity to confess your sins and repent, because the wrath of God is upon you. 17 is what? Never satisfied. A bad wife is never satisfied. No matter how good things are with her, even in her marriage, she must find what to complain about. If the husband doesn't work, then he's lazy and spends all the time home. When the man is always spending time with her, then the man is suffocating her and doesn't have a life of her own. She needs her personal space. When the man moves away, so she can have that space, then the woman will say, turn around and complain that the man doesn't have her time and doesn't love her because she doesn't spend time with her. If the man doesn't keep to his promise, then he's dishonest. When the man changes and keeps his promise, he's boring. Why can't he fail her once and cause her to have changes in mood through heartbreak? When the man can't meet all her needs, then he is irresponsible. When he meets all her needs, then he thinks he can buy her over with his money. Dealing with such women can be very frustrating. I assisted a certain woman like that with advice and prayers. This very woman, this was many years ago, this very woman had a very wayward husband who doesn't want to have sex with her. And this woman, a white American lady, had a very high sexual urge. So when the man is not there for her, when she needs him, what does she do? She turns and uses her own hand to masturbate. So in order to stop this lady from masturbating, I have to start praying for her whenever she needs the husband. So whenever the urge comes, she will call me and I will pray to God, and God will answer and cause the husband to sleep with her. A time came when she contacted me saying, oh, I'm in the mood. I prayed and God answered. And God answered this lady. I'm telling you, I think she contacts me average of every 2 to 3 days. That's to tell you the kind of stress I put myself by signing up for that. So one time, she came and I prayed and the Lord answered as usual. And after that, I asked her, I said, I hope you're not okay. She said, well, yes, but your husband wasn't romantic during that time we got together. When they were having sex, he wasn't romantic. He didn't cuddle her. He didn't use sweet words on her during their intimate moment. When I heard that, I was very angry. I said to myself, look at the amount of work I put into. Look at the amount of sacrifice I make so that you'll be okay. After all that, you are not still satisfied. I was so hungry that I felt like eating her. Now imagine, as a man, living with a woman with such an attribute of never being satisfied for the rest of your life. Imagine how your life will be. As a man, you can't make such women happy. If you are trying to make her happy, you are just wasting your time. You will die trying to make her happy. She will wear you out with her constant demands and complaining. When her birthday comes, you don't buy her gift, problem. You buy her gift, you didn't wrap the gift, problem. You wrap the gift, you gave it to her, problem. You didn't give it to her singing. You sing and give it to her, problem. Why? You didn't look into her eyes while singing. You are singing, look into her eyes. That's the problem. She's no longer in the mood. Why must you be told to sing before you sing? One thing you will never get from such women is appreciation. No matter what you do and how you try to impress her, she will never appreciate you. You always hear from her, you tried, but will always be in all her statements. She's never satisfied. Her eyes are always on what could have been, not what she has. The minute she gets what she has been asking for, her head immediately comes up with another set of scenario which she thinks is better than the one she has. To her, the grass is always better on the other side, where she's not. The husband, after some time, will get fed up and give up on her. Whenever the complaining starts, the husband will leave and ignore her, and from that, conflict will start and the relationship will run into problems. Number 16 is what? Unreasonable expectations. Another vice troubling bad wives is having unreasonable expectations. It starts from the one. Yes, I like a man, but he needs to reduce how he smiles. His mouth doesn't need to be too wide. He needs to reduce it. Yes, I like the man, but I will change him to who I want him to be. But who gave you that job? Did you create him? No. Are you his God that created it? No. Where did you collect power to change it? You have no power to change anybody, including yourself. Only God can change people. But if you go into a marriage hoping to change your husband, many women have fallen into this trap of hoping to change their husbands. They try and fail. Then they get frustrated and go about lamenting, saying men are very stubborn. They say, oh, you hear they say, oh, my husband doesn't listen to me. All her efforts to make the man change has failed. Then they are in such marriage unhappy and depressed. So women say, I want my man to be a rich businessman running a lot of companies, and at the same time always be there for me anytime I need him. He's there. How can a rich man running a lot of companies be with you all the time? Do you know how busy such men are? Sometimes they will be away from their houses for weeks because they are on business trips, traveling from one town to the other, and you expect him to bring you tea in the bed while you are sleeping. Is that possible? No. Even before you woke up by 6 p.m., by 6 a.m. in the morning, he's gone. He has a flight to catch for a trip to another country. Sorry, 1 second. Sorry. So, do you know how busy such men are? So even before you woke up by 6 p.m., he's already out. He has a flight to catch for a trip to another country. Before you know it, she will start complaining. I didn't sign up for this. How can I be alone in the house? All alone by myself. Am I not a human being? Don't I deserve to be cuddled? Sorry, 1 second. Sorry. Let me just. So, how can I be alone in the house? All alone. Am I not a human being? Don't I deserve to be loved? Don't I deserve to be cuddled? Then you turn around and give the man ultimatum. Either you choose me or your business. Before you know it, problems in a marriage. Why? Unreasonable expectations. Some want their husbands to be women with male organs. That is when you hear, I want him to be emotional. I want him to feel what I feel. I want him to go with me and bond at a deeper level. But the man is not an emotional being. He's not wired that way. That's not the way God created him. But you expect that from him. It's like me expecting a goat to give birth to a lion. Is that possible? No. When you take a seed and plant it in a desert and get disappointed that the seed didn't grow, who's at fault here? Is it the seed, the desert, or yourself? You, of course, because you have an unreasonable expectation. How can you expect a plant to grow in the desert? You expect your husband to join you in your feminine discussions. When you start such discussions, the man gets up and leaves. You say, oh, this man doesn't love me. You expect him to go into excessive details about other people's lives. Her nose is straight. Her eyes is not that lovely. Her skin complexion is lighter than that of her sister. All those excessive details are very irritating to a man. He can't stand it. Why? Because it's not wired that way. But you fail to see it that way. You think the man is not. You think the man is not understanding. You think you have you think you have a husband that is not understanding, who doesn't want to spend quality time with you, and through that, resentment, bitterness, and anger rises up in your heart to trouble your relationship. You want him to watch romantic movies with you, where there is excessive crying and unreasonable possibilities. The first film he watched with you, the woman in that film was sick and at the point of death, but the husband kissed her and looked deep into her eyes, and the woman recovered. How can kissing and looking into somebody's eyes cure sickness? Is that possible? No. The man is irritated and doesn't want to watch such movies. Then you call him insensitive. You come to him with your problems. He goes to fix the problem, you get disappointed that he doesn't want to hear you out. Why? Unreasonable expectation. You don't know that to him, talking about a problem without solving it is useless and a waste of time. You don't know that men by nature are logical beings, and it is not, if it's not logical, they can't go in for it. This is what women, there is something women call emotional intelligence, where they expect their partners to do what they want by just watching them without them saying anything. You want your husband to do what you want. You want your husband to know what is your mind by reading your mind through your mood and your facial expressions. Are you with a psychic reader or with a husband? You are not dumb. You have mouth, but you don't want to use it. Why? Unreasonable expectations. One lady said in the papers one day that she needs a man who will change her wardrobe by knowing the time it is to change it without her telling the man to change her wardrobe. These are unreasonable expectation. Ask the same women who say such things to do the same for their husbands and see if they will agree. They will say, who do you think women are? Slaves that obey voiceless commands. But they will brand you, and they will even end up branding you a misogynist if you demand such from them. But they will turn around and demand such from men. That was how I entered the bus one day, and a certain lady was looking at me, expecting me to read her mind and know that she has to sit down beside me in the seat that was empty. She didn't say anything, and to me, I didn't also say anything. I just kept quiet and ignored her, and the bus kept on moving until she opened her mouth and asked for help. That was the time I got up. So even when such women talk, they are not specific. They will talk around the issue, beat around the bush, without stating clearly what they want. When they finish, they expect you, their husband, to use your brain and find out what they want, which they didn't say, that is hidden between the lines of their statements. Men don't have time for all that. They are by nature direct and straight to the point. They have no time for silly female games. So when you come to them with your unreasonable expectations, you have problems. Men are logical beings, and logic makes you realistic. When you come and expect him to embark on a venture without any feasible means of achieving it, he will not agree. Emotions and feelings don't build a house. Money will. When there is no money, any means of getting money, you can't get him to start building a house. So before you say you have a bad husband, check your expectations. It could be that your expectations are unreasonable, and you are using it to destroy a marriage. Some will even go into the net. Anything they hear on the internet, they expect their husbands to do it. They see a husband every morning, he carries the wife up, puts him in the bedroom, bathes her and comes out. And whenever she see that, oh, I want my husband, he will start expecting the husband to do that. Even when she's fat and has the weight of a baby elephant, he expects the husband to be carrying her every morning as a sign of romance. How? She goes in the streets and hears something about how men should treat their wives. She'll come back home and expect that from the husband. No matter how realistic it is, she will expect it from the husband. When problem will start, you say, oh, the man is not caring. But how realistic are those your expectations? How are they? Now, I believe, by the grace of God, I have adequately dealt with the issue of vices of bad wives. I will now move into the virtues of good women, good wives. Number one is what? God fearing. A good woman doesn't play games with God. She's genuinely born again and walks uprightly before God. She's not like other women that play games with God. She's always holy. She's a holy woman, upright in all her ways. Let's read 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 1. 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 1. 1 Peter chapter 3.
Says likewise, ye wives, be subject to your own husbands, as if subject to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also might without the word be won by the conversation of the wives. So you see here that husbands will be converted through the holiness of the wife. The woman does not accept anything that is not right before God. That's how a good woman behaves. The husband, if she buys her a gift with stolen funds, the woman will reject the gift. She prefers to suffer lack than have the husband earn money from fraudulent business. When the husband gives her money for food and what she needs to buy from the market, she will never cheat on him. All the cost of the items she bought is correct, and she never inflates any price. She buys everything correctly without inflating the price. If there is leftover, she will take the money and hand it over to the husband. The woman has an impeccable character. When you call her on phone, wherever she says she is where she is. No lying, no deception. Her husband adores her because of how holy she is. Second attribute of a good wife is what? Steadfastly committed to her marriage and family. She's totally and irrevocably committed to her marriage and family. The journey of marriage is a long journey, and it's filled with many challenges and storms. A good woman will go through the marital journey without giving up, no matter what she faces. Even in the darkest and most trying times, she doesn't abandon her husband. She stands with him and keeps the family together. A Senegalese man by name Jean-Pierre Adams was a footballer. This man moved from Senegal to France where he was playing football. But one day, there he met and married a white French lady. But as he was playing football, he had injury and went to the hospital for treatment. But somewhere along the line, in the process of getting the treatment, he fell into coma. There was complications. And this thing I'm telling you happened in 1982. And this man was in coma from 1982 to 2001 when he died. I think he was around 73 years when he died. So it was 39 years of being in coma. But the wife never abandoned him and cared for him throughout those 39 years till he died. This is the type of heart that good wives have. They don't abandon their husbands, no matter what. They are not like other women. They behave like birds. You know, when birds fly into a place, they go there because of food. But when there's a little disturbance, they fly away with the attitude of, I'm not here to suffer. That's how you know bad wives. The virtuous women are not like that. They are faithful. A virtuous woman is an anchor in times of hardship. The essence of true love is captured by the behavior of a good woman. When the man is up and happy, she celebrates with him. When the man is down and out, she is by his side, offering her support and encouragement. When the husband faces danger and threats, she is there to support him. And her support for him doesn't waver. She is there, committed to him. Whatever the man faces, she faces it with him. They are in it together. She stands with him, keeps the family going. The man's joy is her joy. The man's sorrow is her sorrow. The man's problem is her own problem. There is nothing like I or me troubling many women. There's nothing like that in her. It's us, me and my husband. 3 is what? Submission. A good woman is submissive. She accepts the authority and the leadership and the headship of the husband. Ephesians chapter 5 verse 22. Let's go there. Ephesians 5:22. Ephesians 5:22. There it says, wives, submit yourselves unto your own husbands as unto the Lord. So here we see what the Bible says. The way marriage works is for a woman to submit her husband. And this is exactly what virtuous women do. She accepts the lordship, the headship of the man. When the husband takes a decision, she abides by it. She doesn't rebel against that decision. She never overtalks the husband. When he talks, she listens and obeys. She's the true daughter of Sarah. Sarah was the wife of Abraham, a very beautiful woman whose beauty will cause commotion in another country. But that never got into her head. She even calls Abraham my Lord. Even when her housemaid challenged her, she never took action on her own. She rather went to Abraham, the husband. It was only after Abraham gave her permission that she moved to deal with Hagar, the housemaid. That was the model that God has for every Christian lady. Why? Because let's go to the book of 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 6. 1 Peter chapter 3 verse 6. It says, even Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are, as long as you do well, and are not afraid with any amazement. So here we see that if you are a good wife in a Christian marriage, you're a daughter of Sarah. You cannot question your husband or expect him to explain his decision to you, or say you are his partner. That is rebellious behavior. That office of your husband is the office of your boss. You only go there to receive instructions and directives. You can offer your advice to him in a quiet and humble manner. Not when the man talks, you counter him. Not when he says what he wants to do, you ignore him. Not when he says what he wants you to do, you ignore him and do what you want. Now, can your husband make mistake or lead a family the wrong way? Yes, it can happen. But does that give you the ground to rebel against him? No. That doesn't give you ground for rebellion. A good woman never rebels against the authority of the husband, even when the husband is not behaving well or leading the family in the right way. A good woman will report the husband to the boss, who is Christ. She will do that in prayers, not take the route of rebellion. In Ephesians chapter 5 verse 3, here it says, it says that the husband is the head of the wife, and Christ is the head of the church. So the man who is your boss has another boss. A good woman knows this very well and takes the matter to the husband's boss in prayers. I heard about the wife of a well-known pastor in Nigeria. He suggested to him saying, "Oh, it's time for us to change the school of our children." The man roared and said no. The woman kept quiet and prayed to God. When she prayed, the Lord responded quickly. And as they were driving together, the husband now said, "What did you say about changing school for our children?" The man told him, and he agreed. That was how the issue was resolved. She didn't say, "No way, I will not take that nonsense from you." She went to the Lord of Lords in prayers and effected changes there. Rebellion and subversion is never an option for a good woman. She knows her place and operates from there. That's how good women behave. 4. Fits perfectly into the husband's plans. A good wife looks at the husband, finds what his purpose in life is, and then helps him to achieve it. She doesn't come into the man's life to be a burden on him. He comes into the man's life and makes the man's burden lighter and easier for him. I heard about a pastor who runs a ministry. Before he climbs the pulpit to preach and pray for people, the wife will first of all leads praise and worship. The wife is the leader of praise and worship section. And the praise and worship the wife leads is so powerful that the miracles that will happen will be more than the ones that will happen when the husband starts to preach. That's how a good wife is to the husband. This is what the Lord had in mind when he created the woman. He said, "I will make for Adam a helpmate." Adam had a job, and the role of Eve was to help the man to do that very job that he had. It's like when you want to, act a drama on stage, you have a helper whose job is to, act. Whose job is to, you have a helper. Your job is to act the drama for people to watch, but your helper is to set up the stage, bring together all the instruments needed to act the drama, put everything in place, and operate it while you, the man, goes on to act the drama. As you're acting, the helper is there to make sure the lights used in acting doesn't go out on stage. The helper knows when to close and open the curtain so the acting can start. You also make sure the electrical connections are in place and working. This is what a good woman is to the husband. She understands the man's purpose and helps him to fulfill it. My spiritual grandparents in the Lord, when they started their ministry,
My grandfather in the Lord was the one praying for people. While my spiritual grandmother as the wife was giving her the prayer points to people. Why? Because she's a good wife. This is what good wives do. For example, me as an evangelist, my work as an evangelist is very demanding. If as a man, a man in my calling, maybe that kind of man marries a good wife, she will come in and help him by cooking. So he will not, carry out the burden of cooking anymore. She will, come in and take over also cleaning, which the man is doing himself, and which was a burden to him before. And he makes it lighter, and this will make the work, easier for the person. The person will now have time to rest, recover, so he can do the work of God more effectively. A good woman forms an unbeatable team with the husband. She doesn't stand aside and watch the man burn himself out to work. She doesn't say, let him carry it, he's a man. He looks at him and says, you are tired, stop, go and rest. I'll finish the rest of the work. When he wants to travel, she packs his bags, goes out and buys the ticket for him to travel. Anything he needs while he's away, he buys all of them, packs it into his bag. He doesn't go around stressing himself to buy things like soap, toiletries, toothpaste. No, that angle has been covered by her. If the man is a trader and has a shop where he sells goods, the woman she goes to the shop, counts all the goods there, calls the suppliers whenever the goods are going down, so they can get more supplies. The man works online. The woman comes, reads all the emails and explains the emails to him. If there are emails that the man needs to type out and print them out, she types it and prints all of them out and gives it to him. With a good wife, things run smoothly. A man's life and the burden is easier by her with her by his side. Number 5 is what? She's hardworking. Proverbs 31 verse 13 to 15. Proverbs 31. Proverbs 31 13 to 15. There it says, she seeketh wool and flax, and walketh willingly with her hands. She is like the merchant ships. She bringeth her food from afar. She riseth up also while it is yet night, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. So here we see that the good wife works. She's not the type that doesn't want to work. She has a business she's doing. Not just that she has a business she's doing. That doesn't mean that she will abandon her duty as a wife at home. No, that's why she rises up early to give food to the members of her household. She works so hard that she meets her professional and domestic obligations. That is nothing like I'm busy with my work, so I cannot have time to cook and care for my household. That's not a good woman. She doesn't behave like that. Both fronts are covered. Let's read Proverbs chapter 31 verse 26. There it says, she openeth her mouth with wisdom, and her tongue is the law of kindness. Sorry. What is this thing? Somewhere in this place. Okay, now she said okay, Proverbs chapter 31 verse 27, she looketh well to the ways of household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. So here you see that idleness has no place in her life. Whatever idleness has to offer, she doesn't take it, because there's no place for that in her life. There the Bible talks about the bread of idleness, meaning idleness has benefits. That's why you hear some women say, I don't want to suffer in a marriage. I just want to enjoy myself. That enjoyment is the bread of idleness. That is, a married woman who will sit in her house from morning till night doing nothing but to engage in useless chatting and gossip with her female friends. She will go online and be reading about the latest news from the private lives of celebrities. After that, she watches films. Nothing to do, because all the bills are paid by the husband. When a good woman meets such women,
they want to draw her into such a lifestyle, so she can also enjoy the bread of idleness, which is gossip and useless discussions. But she will not accept, because there's no place for that kind of lifestyle in her life. That offer of bread of idleness is totally rejected by her. She can't even be friends with such ladies. She will cut them off and face her duty fairly and squarely. Time is precious to her. She can't waste productive, hours engaging in fruitless activities. Number 6, she's good to her husband all the time. A good woman is always good to her husband all the time, and is not in any way evil to him. Why? Let's read Proverbs chapter 31 verse 12. Proverbs chapter 31 verse 12. It says, she will do him good and not evil all the days of her life. So here we see it clearly in God's word that a good woman is 100% good and 0% evil. The woman only dishes out goodness to her man. When he comes back home from work, she takes his bag from him, welcomes him affectionately, and serves him his food. After he puts water for him to have his shower, he showers. The most important thing men need at home is peace. This is what many women don't know. They think that they can cause trouble, and next minute everything is forgotten because of 1 minute of hugging. No, it doesn't work like that. Men desire peace most in their lives because they are already fighting battles in their lives. So their home is supposed to be a place of peace where they can hide from all the storms and the battles they are fighting and facing. An evil woman makes the home a turbulent place for the husband. That's why some men come back home late at night. But a good woman is not like that. She gives the man all around the clock peace. The house of a good woman is the house of peace. You will never see her raise her voice against the husband. You will never see her abuse the husband or shout at him. Quarreling, argument, conflicts in the house of a good woman does not exist. There is no place for such things. When she disagrees with the husband, she does so respectfully and politely. She will check all her husband's clothes to know which ones are dirty and wash them and iron them very well. In the morning, when the man is ready to leave, all he needs to do is to put his clothes straight and leave. When the man has a birthday, she goes out of her way to celebrate the man. If she has the means, she will surprise the man with birthday gifts. She never talks bad about the husband. Even when the husband is not there, she speaks about him in glowing terms. When she speaks about him, when the husband hears about what the wife says about him behind his back, he's happy. He treats him like his king. Whenever he speaks, she listens, always available and ready to render assistance to him. Whatever he wants is done exactly the way he wants. If he says he wants his food to be ready before 6 p.m., that's how it is, and it will remain that way. If he says, he wants all the house doors to be locked by 9 p.m., she will make sure it's like that. She treats a man like a king and honors him from the depths of her heart. Number 7, takes care of the family. A good woman is a caring woman. The welfare of her family is very important to her. She doesn't joke with it. Proverbs chapter 31 verse 15. There it says, she rises up also while it is yet dark, and giveth meat to her household, and a portion to her maidens. So here we see how she will rise up early to give food to the members of her household. Rising up early means what? Priority. She doesn't joke with the welfare of her family. Let's read verse 27 of the same chapter. It says, she looked well to the ways of her household, and eateth not the bread of idleness. So the same here, you see that her eyes are always on her household. She makes sure the children are eating, and their clothes are washed. If they are going to school, before they wake up, she has already prepared their food, their breakfast, packed all the lunch they will need to eat while they are in school in their lunch box. If the children's clothes are torn or old, she'll buy new ones, washes the ones that are dirty. When the children clothes from school, she brings them back from school, feeds them and takes good care of them. The house is always very clean and neat. When the husband leaves the house,
He has no reason to call back home out of concern because he knows that the wife will handle everything very well. The man cannot come back to the house and find a house in a disorderly state where the house is dirty, the children are hungry, the plates used in eating previously have not been washed, flies flying around everywhere. It doesn't happen under her watch. Number 8 is what? Wisdom. A good woman has wisdom on her side. Why? Because this thing is very long. Very, very long. Okay, let me try as much as possible to read it. First Samuel chapter 25. First Samuel chapter 25, verse 1. And Samuel died, and all the Israelites gathered together and lamented him and buried him in the house at Ramah. And David rose and went down to the wilderness of Paran. And there was a man, Maon, whose possessions were in Carmel, and the man was very great, and he had 3,000 sheep and 1,000 goats, and was shearing sheep in Carmel. And the name of this man was Nabal, and the name of his wife was Abigail, and she was a woman of good understanding and a beautiful countenance. But the man was churlish and evil in his doing, and he was the household of Caleb. David heard in the wilderness that Nabal did shear his sheep. David sent out 10 young men, and David said unto the young men, Get you up to Carmel and go to Nabal and greet him in my name. And ye shall say to him that liveth in prosperity, Peace be unto thee, and peace be unto thy house, peace be unto all that thou hast. Now I have heard that thou hast shearers. Now thy shepherds, which are with us, we hurt them not, neither were they aught missing unto them, all the while they were in Carmel. Ask these young men, and they will show thee. Wherefore let the young men find favor in thy sight, for we come in good day. Give, I pray thee, whatsoever cometh to thy hand, unto thy servant, and unto thy son David. And when David's young men came, they spake to Nabal according to these words in the name of David, and ceased. Nabal answered David's servants and said, Who is David? Who is the son of Jesse? There are many servants now a day that break away every man from his master. Shall I take my bread and my water and my flesh that I have killed for my shearers, and give it unto men whom I know not where hence they came, where hence they be? So David's young men turned their way and went again, and came and told him all these things. And David said to the men, Glad ye on every man his sword. And they gladed every man his sword, and David also gladdened his sword. And they went up after David about 400 men, and 200 abode by the stuff. And one of the young men told Abigail, Nabal's wife, saying, Behold, David sent messengers out of the wilderness to salute our master, and he railed on them. And the men were very good to us, and we were not hurt, neither missed we anything, as long as we were conversant with them when they are in the fields. And there was a wall unto us, and they were a wall unto us by night, and all the while we were with them, keeping the sheep. Now therefore know and consider what thou wilt do. For evil is determined against our master and against his household. For he is such a son of Bela that a man cannot speak unto him. And Abigail made haste and took 200 loaves and 10 bottles of wine, and 2 bottles of wine, and 5 sheep ready dressed, and 5 measures of pieced corn, and 100 clusters of raisin, and 200 cakes of fig, and laid upon asses. And she said unto her servants, Go before me, behold, I come after you. And she told not her husband Nabal. And it was so that she rode on ass, that she came down by covert of the hill, and behold, David and his men were come down against her, and she met them. And now David said, Surely in vain have I kept all this fellow has in the wilderness, so that nothing is missed of all that pertained unto the man, and he has repeated me evil for good. So and more also to God unto enemies of David, if I leave all that pertain to him by the morning light, any that passeth against the wall.
But when Abigail saw David, she hastened and lightened on the ass, and fell before David on his face, and bowed herself to the ground, and fell at his feet, and said unto me, My Lord, upon me let this iniquity be, and let my handmaid, I pray thee, speak unto thy audience, and hear the words of thy handmaid. Let not my Lord, I pray thee, regard this man of Belial, even Nabal, for as his name is, so is he. Nabal is his name, and fully is with him. But I am the handmaid, sought not the young men of my Lord, whom thou didst send. Now, my Lord, as the Lord liveth, and as my soul liveth, seeing the Lord has withholden thee from coming to shed blood, and from avenging thyself with thy own hand, now let thy servant, let thy enemies and they that seek evil unto my Lord be as Nabal. And now these blessings which thy handmaid has brought unto my Lord, let it be even given unto the young men that follow my Lord. I pray thee, forgive the trespasses of thy handmaid, for the Lord will certainly make my Lord a sure house, because my Lord fighteth the battles of the Lord, and evil has not been found in him in all thy days. Yet the man is risen to pursue thee, and to seek thy soul, but the soul of my Lord will be bound in the bundle of life with the Lord thy God, and the soul of thy enemies thou shalt sling out as the middle of the sling. And it shall come to pass, when the Lord shall have done to my Lord according to all the good that he has done, all the good that he has spoken concerning thee, and all shall have appointed thee the servant over Israel. And this shall be no grief unto thee, neither offense of the heart unto the Lord, neither either that thou hast shed blood causelessly, or that my Lord has avenged himself. But when the Lord shall have dealt well with my Lord, then remember thy handmaid. And David said unto Abigail, Blessed be the Lord of Israel, which sendest thee this day to meet me. Blessed be thy advice, and blessed be thou that hast kept me this day from coming to shed blood, and from avenging myself with my own hand. For in the very deed as the Lord of Israel liveth, which has kept me from hurting thee, except thou hast hastened and come down to meet me, surely there shall have not been left unto Nabal by the morning light any that passeth under the wall. And David received of her hand that which she had brought unto him, and said unto her, Go in peace to thy house. See, I have hearkened unto thy voice, and have accepted thy person. And Abigail came to Nabal, and behold, held a feast in the house, like the feast of the king. And Nabal's heart was made within him, for he was drunken, wherefore he told him not, more or less until the morning. It's a very long chapter. So here we see the wisdom of a good woman at work. She deployed it and saved her family and herself from harm. The Bible started by describing the couple. The man is foolish and stupid. Then this is the question many women will ask: how do I deal with such a husband that is unreasonable, like Nabal? Shall I go along with that nonsense? They will say, oh, my husband's behavior makes it impossible for me to be cool and calm. How do I deal with such a man like that? I should act like a helpless lapdog? Is that Christianity? This is what many women will ask. But if I don't confront him and let him have his way, he will repeat it again. That's what they will say. But here is a woman in the same position as you. But do you see her abusing her husband? No. Do you see her confronting him? No. How did she deal with such a man without causing any problems? Wisdom. Abigail used wisdom to deal with her foolish husband. Every marriage, no matter how good the persons involved are, every marriage will face challenges. Even if the man is Mr. Perfect and the wife is Mrs. Perfect, they will still face challenges. Every marriage has tough times and has challenges. Challenges are part of marriage. How do you handle it as a woman? Wisdom. A good woman goes in search of wisdom. When she finds it, she dives into it and lives there permanently. Abigail was a good woman. That was why she used wisdom. She didn't do like other women. You know, when the servants will tell them what the husband did, they will just jump up, move to confront the husband. And even as they're confronting the husband and saying, oh, you a stupid man,
You will never learn. You are very stupid, you are very foolish. I regret the day I married you. And the man will reply. And both of them will start, arguing and quarreling. While they are doing all that, danger is approaching. David and his group are approaching to kill and injure members of the whole family. Abigail didn't do like that. She moved out and halted the danger, saving the lives of the members of her family, including the husband. When she resolved the problem, what did she do? Let's read verse 36 and 37 again. There it says, and Abigail came to Nabal, and behold, he held a feast in his house, like the feast of a king. And Nabal's heart was merry within him, for he was very drunken. Wherefore she told him nothing, more or less, until the morning light. It came to pass in the morning, when the wine was gone out of Nabal, and his wife had told him these things, that his heart died within him, and he became as a stone. So you see the same thing. So you see the same wisdom at work. The woman came back to the house and met the husband in a feast, drinking. She didn't go there to talk to him and argue with him in front of the guests taking part in that feast. She didn't do that. That tells you that a good woman does not embarrass the husband before other people, because she has wisdom. Wisdom will not allow her to do that. A good woman will not disrespect the husband publicly. She will not call him names in front of his friends. Wisdom will not allow her to do that. Only foolish women do that. The man is focused on the feast and will not have time to talk to her. What did she do? Abigail didn't go that time. That's another manifestation of wisdom. So as a wise woman, through wisdom, you understand when to talk to your husband and when not to talk to him. Maybe he's busy or he's focused on another thing. That's the time you, the wife, will come up with your issue. He say, honey, I want to talk to you. The man will say, can't you see I'm busy? The man will say, oh, but what are you going to say? Sorry, what are you going to say? You get angry. Say, I should have access to you. What do you mean? And with that, problem will start. Because he will say, oh, you have to suspend everything you are doing to talk to me. A good woman doesn't give like that. To her, wisdom will direct you to know the timing you want to talk to your husband and when to talk to your husband. She knows the time to talk to her husband as a good woman, using wisdom, and want to talk to him. This causes problems in a lot of marriages. The woman will see the husband, there's no place to talk. When she goes to that very time, I want to talk to the man. The man will not get angry. You and say, you are a reasonable woman. You will not allow me to do my work. I'm in the middle of a board meeting and you're calling me non-stop. The man will say, oh, what's wrong with you? The woman will say, what's wrong with you? Can't I talk to you? From there, problem will start. A good woman will avoid all that, because wisdom will teach her the appropriate time to talk. Again, let's read verse 36 to 37. It says, Abigail came to Nabal, and behold, held a feast in the house, like the feast of a king. And Nabal's heart was merry within him, for he was very drunken. Wherefore he told him nothing, more or less, until morning light. And it came to pass in the morning, that when the wine was run out of him, and his wife had told him these things, that his heart died within him, and he became a stone. Here you see that the husband, Nabal, was in a drunken state. Can you have a useful discussion with a drunken man? No. So she left him to sleep. It was tomorrow morning, when the man was no longer drunk and all the alcohol has gone out of him, that I can properly comprehend what someone can say to him. That was the time she spoke to him. That is another wisdom at work. A good woman, that telling you that a good man with her wisdom knows the mood of the husband and will use it to in her relationship with the husband. She knows when to present her matter. She's not like the foolish woman that will not check the mood of the husband before talking to him. The man will be tired and come back from work, very tired and very exhausted, and he no mood to talk. That's the time the foolish woman will throw all her problems at him and expect immediate solutions. You say, oh my darling, I want you to buy me a new dress for my upcoming Papa Day celebration. And my office where I work, send me an email. I need you to help me work on it. because it's concerning my promotion exam. Okay, can you help me repair my broken down PC after finishing the email? You don't know that the man is not in the mood for all those issues you are throwing at him. If the man snaps and tells you, leave me alone, allow me to get some rest, you hit back and trouble will start. A good woman like Abigail will use her wisdom to know that it's a wrong time to talk because the husband is not in the mood. So wisdom with a good woman, she will use it to keep her marriage out of all that stress. She knows the husband is not in the mood, and when she knows that, she won't talk to him. When the husband comes back home, for example, he takes his briefcase from him, serves him food. After eating, he prepares the bedroom for him to shower. The man showers, rests, returns totally, and is comfortable, in a good mood. That's the time she goes to present her problems to the husband. That is wisdom at work. Even when the husband is wrong and she wants to talk about it, there will be no problems, because wisdom will guide her along the paths of peace. Why am I talking like that? Let's go back and read that verse again, verse 36 to 37, because the word of God always has fresh revelations. Each time around we read it. Abigail came to Nabal, and behold, held a feast in the house like the feast of a king. And Nabal's heart was merry within him, for he was very drunken. Wherefore she told him nothing, more or less, until morning light. It came to pass in the morning that when the wine was gone out of Nabal, and the wife had told him these things, that his heart died within him, and he became as a stone. Here you see that this wise woman called Abigail didn't abuse the husband or call him names. She didn't do like other women who say, you see the mess you created. I was busy sorting it out while you were busy drinking with your useless friends and having a party and fooling around. She will say, oh, like other women, I don't know how long I can put up I don't know how long I can put up with your rubbish and with you. She didn't do that. She didn't talk down on the man's husband. She didn't speak to him angrily, though the matter was so serious that involves life and death. So if you say, oh, I have been keeping quiet, but on this one, where I could have lost my children and get injured myself or get killed myself, I have to drop my cool approach and give it to him hot. If you're like that, you're not operating with wisdom in that marriage. Because if you look at Abigail, you see that she never at any time criticized the husband or talked to him harshly. She didn't do that. There was no trouble in her marriage. All she did was to do what? Narrate the whole matter to him. Narrate what happened. That's what she did. And present it to him. Let's read verse 37 again. It said, and it came to pass in the morning, and when the wine was gone out on Nabal, and his wife had told him all these things, that his heart died within him, and he became as a stone. So here we see what Abigail did. She told him all his wrongdoings and the consequences. The woman presented a harsh reality of what he did and left him alone. That is how good women behave, because they use wisdom. When their husband is wrong, when the man is wrong, he presents the man's wrongdoings to him and also presents the harsh consequences of his actions. And that you can see the impact of what she did on the man. There he says the man's heart died within him. So you see how a good woman will use her wisdom to get her erring husband back to his senses. You say that as a woman, you can't have a good marriage if you are married to a wrong man. Here is the case that proves you wrong. This woman had a good marriage, in spite of the fact that she married a terrible man. If you read this story very well, you will never see where a man's foolishness affected the relationship with the wife. Why? Because the woman used wisdom. And this is what all virtuous women do. Virtuous women are wise and use that their wisdom to navigate the challenging waters of their marriage. Number 9 is what? Prayerful. A good woman is prayerful. She's addicted to prayers. She uses prayers to create an atmosphere in the spirit on which her family thrives and survives and grows safely. When the family is in crisis or has challenges, she takes it upon herself in the place of prayers and stays on it
until the matter is resolved. The devil and his kingdom can go around and attack other families. The devil will attack every house in a neighborhood. The devil will never near our house, because the fire and the power she generates through her prayers will keep the family safe. Even when there's epidemic in the country, everybody is sick in the hospital. Nobody in the house will be sick because of the anointing generated by her ceaseless prayers. You know, that anointing cannot permit anybody to be sick in the house. That anointing cannot permit anybody to be sick in her house. That's why? Because she's always praying. She's always praying. She's always praying. All the problems of cheating by men doesn't happen in her own marriage, because she uses prayers to paralyze all those spirits and powers beyond that. Women only see their husband cheating, but they don't know the temptations their husbands face every day. The man will go out every day to face all kinds of temptations from different women who want to lure them away from their wives. A good woman will use her prayers to arrest those temptations and keep her husband faithful in the marriage. The devil knows that the man is the head of the family, so he's a high class target. If you watch the Garden of Eden very well, you see that nothing happened until Adam ate that fruit. The problem only started when Adam ate that fruit. When Eve ate it, nothing happened. It was when Adam ate it, the problem started. They realized they were naked and they couldn't stand the presence of God and started running away. The devil knows this very well, so that's why he targets the man in the family. He will throw all kinds of temptations and challenges at him. But if that man has a good woman by his side, he's safe and secure, because she will use her prayers to bulldoze down all those walls and obstacles the devil throws at him. When a good woman is talking to her husband, she's not talking for talking sake. She's only talking because she needs to know how to pray for her husband and what to pray about. You hear that's the time you hear, oh, that contract you are looking for, have you gotten it? The man will say no. They told me to come back next week. She takes it to prayers, asking the Lord to make a way for him. She will say, oh, that job you applied for, do you have it? He say no. Oh, I have job, but I've written a letter. He say, give me the letter. She takes the letter and takes it to God in prayers, demanding that the letter be accepted. You say, oh, I have 5 business proposals. I don't know which one to choose. The man will say, okay, wait, give me some time. Let me pray about it. When she prays, the Lord talks back to her and tells her which one to choose. She comes back and tells her husband, pick this one. And when the husband picks that one and does it, the man will make a lot of money. And through that, the family will move forward. Even when the man is irresponsible, the woman will use her prayers to get him back on track. That was how his sister lost her husband to a hairdresser she brought to her house to do her hair. But she prayed up to the point where a man appeared in a trance and said, this is your marriage, take it. It was a key this man dropped on the ground in that trance. And this woman picked it and came out of that trance. Shortly after that, the husband separated from that strange woman that came into their marriage and came back to her. You see this type of woman in Hebrews chapter 11 verse 35. There it says women receive their dead back to life by faith. Meaning that a good woman by faith uses prayers to bring back her loved ones back to life. So any matter that cannot be resolved through wisdom or human effort, she uses her prayers to resolve it. She doesn't cry. She doesn't resort to crying or apportioning blame. She takes it to God in prayers and uses her prayers to resolve it. The mother of John Wesley and Charles Wesley was a woman of prayers. She had many children. They took out time to pray for her children every day for 1 hour. This she did non-stop. And through her prayers, God raised John Wesley and Charles Wesley. John Wesley is the great revivalist of the 19th century, whose influence still felt today. His brother Charles was a gifted singer that sang over 4,000 hymns that are still being sung even in today's church. How did these two giants of faith rise? Through the ceaseless prayers of their mother, Susan Wesley. That's how good women are. They use prayers to control outcomes and make it what they want it to be. They don't use nagging. They don't use quarreling. They don't use confrontation. They don't play games or do tit for tat with their husbands. They take all their grievances and challenges to God in prayers, and through that, get what they want. If they pray once it's not happening, they pray a second time
and keep on praying until something happens. That's the end of our message for today.